Yeah, yeah, one in the night. Yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We lift on y'all in the night. Hands higher, we vibing with the light. Yeah. Yahshua, keep me right. We praise for the fire ignite. I've been through the storm, now I see the rainbow. Praying every day, Yahshua never playing games though. From the bottom, we rising, His name we rising. Every bar, every line, yeah, we glorifying. Scripture on my mind, songs tell me sing loud. Everything we fall back when we move in the crowd. We vibing, we shining, yeah, the spirit inside us. Bless life, no lie, let the haters despise, yeah. Light in my city, yeah, they see me glow. Love in my heart, yeah, we steady grow. Raise your glass, raise your hands, we celebrate. Every night, every fight, we elevate, yeah. We lift the hour in the night. Hands high, we vibing with the light. Yahshua, keep me right. We praise for the fire ignite. Yeah. Lift up. Lift up, y'all in the night. Hands high, yeah, we vibing with the light. Yahshua, keep me right. We praise, feel the fire ignite. Yeah. Lift up. Yellow pop, but the blessing never stop. Scripture in the club, yeah, we tear it up. Yahshua in the booth, y'all on the track. Every lyric I spit, we just bring it back. Feeling holy, feeling dope, yeah, the energy high. Praying in the whip, every ride we touch the sky. All my sheep, all my fam, yeah, we riding together. Praise on repeat, this vibe gon' last forever. Hands in the air, let them know who we follow. Yeah, wise love, yeah, never gonna be hollow. Every night, yeah, we toast to the blessing. Yahshua with me, yeah, we party and confess. Yeah, we lift up, y'all in the night. Hands high, we vibing with the light. Yahshua, keep me right. We praise for the fire ignite. We lift up, y'all in the night. Hands high, we vibing with the light. Yahshua, keep me right. We praise for the fire ignite. Whoa, yeah. Lift up.
All right. Welcome in, y'all. Shalom. Hopefully all is well with you all today. Woo! We are back for another War Sheet podcast. Listen, welcome to the flock. I appreciate y'all flocking with you, Yaga. Listen, we're going to go over a few things here today that's going to shed a lot of light on some things I think that we all need to know right now in this time and hour that we're in. A lot of the things that we go through based on sheer ignorance, right? And honestly, when we venture off into a spiritual realm, a lot of times we are so just motivated, so inspired, so encouraged to seek the face of the Father, right? So we fall into this state of like idiocity, right? To where we're just like an idiot. It's like we can't discern good and evil. A lot of these deceptive features will come and approach us, right? And on its face, it looks like something that should be received in love and peace and joy, when truthfully underneath the surface is something that you should wage war with and war against. We're going to shed light on that here right now and more right here, right now on the Warsheet Podcast. We believe on shedding light because light creates understanding. Understanding creates love. Love creates patience, and that patience will create unity. So let's get unified in the spirit, y'all.
Keep teaching hate when he says, I'm not going to let the wolf eat me anymore. If the wolf comes in here, next time he comes in here, I'll do whatever I have to do to keep him off my back. Is the sheep violent or is the wolf violent? He wasn't teaching hate, he was teaching common sense. You know, somebody's knocking you over the head, stop them. Do whatever you have to do to stop them. You know, the ones that were knocking him over the head were afraid of the fact that he might swing back. So they said, no, he's teaching hate, he's violent.
Looks like we back, ready to rock and roll. All right, y'all. So, honestly, tell you the truth, I saw and came across a few different things that I noticed that were very odd, or it was very strange. You know, when it comes to like, I guess, false teachers, when it comes to the false prophets, false teachers, things of that nature, right? We cover that extensively here on the Warsheet Podcast. There's been a few things that were shared, not only in the group chat for the Discord, right? Some people have shared it. Some of the saints over there shared a few different videos that I found one to be very intriguing that I really want to go over here today. But first, I kind of want to dive into the nature of generational curses, how generational curses come about, how they're passed down from one generation to the next, and how the current generation is seeking to reverse a lot of those curses, right? We're in an age and time right now where in this particular generations, we are looking to reverse generational curses, whether it be curses of poverty, whether it be of death, of destruction over the family, whatever it may be, discord, whatever it is, right? This generations and generations that are coming are seeking to reverse those curses, or to remove those curses off the bloodline, off the generation, where generations before us, not so much so focused on that, right? It's been a very interesting thing. I've been noticing a lot, and I'm pretty sure you guys have out there as well, with people who are interested in just breaking and destroying generational curses. But let's go ahead and get some shout outs real quick. Everybody who's right now in the building, we're going to go ahead and do some shout outs, man. Shout out to you guys. Hype Williams, my brother, welcome in. Good to see you in this thing. Bless you and shalom, shalom. All my righteous alpha men and all my elegant women who's exceptional. Drop some ram and drop some sheep in the chat from me, please. Right? Please. Please. Let's go ahead and get this thing going, y'all. All right. Mama Shay, my mother, Mama Shay, welcome in. Good to see you in this thing. Bless you and shalom, shalom. Season Sojourney, welcome in. Good to see you in this thing. Bless you and shalom. Elder Jim McLean. Elder McLean, welcome in. Good to see you in this thing. Bless you and shalom, shalom. Good to see you in this thing. My brother Briggs, Chris Briggs. Can we talk or not talk? Bless you and shalom, shalom. Good to see you in this thing. Mama Clay, welcome in. Bless you and shalom, shalom. Good to see you in this thing. Hallelujah. All right, brother Charlie. My good brother, the honorable brother Charlie, welcome in. Good to see you in this thing. Bless you and shalom, shalom. All right. And brother Reggie, my brother, welcome in. Good to see you in this thing. Sister Rose, shalom and welcome in. Good to see you in this thing. All right, y'all. We're going to go ahead and dive into this thing, y'all. Honestly, we're going to start with this particular video because I think that there's a lot that came from it that I actually saw that was very important to cover. My thing is that with the generational curses and how they are passed down from one generation to the next, it's all through trauma. It's all through trauma and rehatching the same trauma that you've had before and giving it to your next generations. I just really wanted to cover this because I think it may help a lot of individuals out here who are seeking like a way to relate, to be able to connect, to be able to bond with the next generation, right? And also in ways where we can be able to remove those generational curses. I believe this is one of the best ways, right? Is to identify it and to speak about it, right? Because if we don't identify it and if we don't talk about it, then guess what? Nothing will ever be done. We'll never be able to make a move. We'll never be able to make change effective in our future generations. Let's go ahead and do this. Guy name is Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant is a guy who was a part of the NFL. He played with the Cowboys, right? With the Cowboys, and I believe he went over to the Baltimore Ravens for a short time. But he definitely was one of the best wide receivers in his time, right? Very good, great wide receiver in a part of the NFL. So Dez Bryant was speaking on a particular topic that had a lot to do with him and his family and future generations and how his upbringing was. Let's listen in as to what he had to say about that, y'all.
Hey, break generational curses. Quit yelling at your kids before they go to bed and expect them to sleep well. Quit yelling at your kids in the morning right after they wake up before school and expect them to have a good day. You set the tone for your children. You set the tone for your voice. They will always remember in their heads. You become the inner voice. Don't be the inner critic. Speak life, speak love, speak bravery, kindness and hope. Speak wisdom and truth. Most of all, listen to your children. I never had none of that. I get that to mine. And that's my number one priority. That's how I follow that. That's how I break it.
All right. So, of course, while he's speaking on a lot of these things and talking about it, hopefully it's not, how's it going for you guys over there as far as this video? Because I feel like I'm lagging a little bit. Not too sure as to why, but I think I might have to cleanse my hard drive or something like that. Clear the cache, clear the cookies. He wearing an idol on his head. Oh, okay. Yeah, the Nike check. Yeah, some people, man, listen, they're not on the same level. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm lagging a little bit for some reason. So I'm gonna go back and I'm just gonna play it again here shortly. But like you said, yelling at your children, treating them a certain way, all right, before they're able to start their day, whatever it may be. He said he's never received that. He said he's never had that, right? As to where he was treated a certain way, he was treated with love, compassion, whatever it may be, while he was starting his day, before he started his day, for school or whatever it may be. So he tries to provide that to his future generations, to his children right now. And I think that we fall into a particular state of, perpetuating the same things that may have been done to us. We think that that is the proper way to raise a generation, right? Or raise children. We see certain things, identify certain things, maybe certain things like not being able to express yourself or believing that a man should not be emotional or should not be able to express himself emotionally or talk about what he's going through. These things, honestly, have been really have been passed down from one generation to the next, that you should suppress and suppress and oppress your emotions. The way that you feel, right, as a man, you should suppress it. You shouldn't express it. You shouldn't talk to people about it. You should bottle it up and store it away. And now in those results, in the society that we're currently in right now, we have the highest self-deletion rate for our men. The men are some of the people who are self-deleting more than others, right? Just for the simple fact that they don't understand how to deal with the emotions, or they feel like they can't open up about their emotions. You know what I mean? And I believe guys like Jason Wilson, right, and guys like this who are talking about men, right, men who are masculine men and being able to express themselves, they're helping with reversing a lot of that, right? Because you know, they are actually showing men, right, as being men who were at one point suppressors of their emotions. They have shown men how to a healthy way of being able to get that emotion out, right? A healthy way to be able to talk about it, a healthy way to be able to, and who to talk about it with. What are some of the safe spaces to do it? And honestly, when we talk about the generational curses, this is what he's speaking about. I think it's just so important. It's so important for us to be able to identify our generational curses, what the things that were passed down, and try to eradicate that from the bloodline. And I believe that that's what this core focus is for a lot of the generations now and future generations to come, right? Is to just to break the generational curse. It could be a generational curse of poverty, of lack of compassion, of lack of empathy, right? Or whatever it may be in your bloodline. You see it being handed down from one generation to the next, identifying it and finding healthy ways to remove it, right? To completely remove it from your family. During Day of Atonement, the traditional prayers claim to break unholy vows and curses during the year. What say you? Well, unholy vows and curses during the year, during the Day of Atonement, I don't see that as being something. Now, my thing is this, right? If this is something that you pray about, if this is something that you pray about when you're doing the Day of Atonement and you're fasting and you're praying to break it, listen, I think that that's a great thing to do, because you know, with the Day of Atonement, this it lines up with what the idea is. You want to break a lot of this stuff, a lot of things you may have fell in agreement with, a lot of things that you identified that may not be the healthiest thing for you, that you agree, that you aligned yourself with. Now is the time, during the Day of Atonement, now is the time to fast, pray, and to break those chains, right? And that's what fasting is all about. So that's a great question right there. Absolutely. I will definitely say that during the Day of Atonement is the best time to say that you want to have prayers, a traditional prayer that would break unholy vows and curses during the year. Okay. I think that would be great. You know, if you took that and went ahead and did it, exercise that every, at least, and you know, more than just the once a year, more than just the Day of Atonement. If you exercise that multiple times a year, right, and you just kind of made it something that's a part of your daily repertoire as far as putting on the whole armor of the Messiah. I believe that you definitely are helping yourself out a lot, tremendously, right, by doing so. So that's a great mention right there. That's a great mention and a great question. Yeah, we should start in the word. Very, very good. Absolutely. We should definitely start in the word. Now, you know, when this individual is talking about it, Dez Bryant, when he's talking about what he's talking about, right? And breaking generational curses, the things he did not receive. I'm going to try to attempt to play that again because I think it was skipping around a little bit. But let's listen in one more time here, y'all.
I ain't trying to cry, but it say break generational curses. Quit yelling at your kids before they go to bed and expect them to sleep well. Quit yelling at your kids in the morning right after they wake up before school and expect them to have a good day. You set the tone for your children. You set the tone your, you set the tone for your voice. They will always remember in their heads. You become their inner voice.
All right. Yeah, this thing's been acting weird lately. So I might have to wipe my hard drive or something like that, clear the cache. This is something that's slowing it down a lot on this desktop or on his laptop here. But either way, we'll come back to it. Man, that's gonna kind of just, you know, Well, we'll come back to it, y'all. We'll come back to it either way. Yeah. So generational curses and breaking those, removing those, and things like that. I know that we all have our own ideas as to what that is. We got Day of Atonement, a personal appointment with the Most High to repent and be clean. Yeah, a Day of Atonement for with the Most High to repent and to be clean. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I know it's day of prayer. So are you saying that, of course, having the prayer or making a tradition of prayer, Elder Jim, are you saying that making a tradition of prayer, right, and breaking unholy vows and curses, that's a part of making yourself clean? From my understanding, provide more of an understanding. If you got it, let me know what you think. Is this something that's appropriate, like as far as the breaking unholy vows and curses during the year, right, as being something that's a part of the Day of Atonement? Now, me personally, like I said, that being a part of some of your prayer for the Day of Atonement is great, and then repenting, of course, that's a huge part of it as well. But I see that as making yourself clean or cleansing yourself by breaking these unholy vows and curses as well, right? So yeah, let me know. Might need to clean the cache if cold. Yeah, yeah. Um, I can't say that it's my Wi-Fi because I believe that I'm holding a steady connection when it comes to streaming. So I can't say that it's my Wi-Fi. What I can say is that my laptop it is moving kind of slow. But I'm gonna have to adjust some things real quick in order to fix that. Right?
I ain't trying to cry, but just say
We're gonna
break
try again.
generational curses. Quit yelling at your kids before they go to bed and expect them to sleep well. Quit yelling at your kids in the morning right after they wake up before school and expect them to have a good day. You set the tone for your children. You set the tone for you set the tone for your voice. They will always remember in their heads. You become the inner voice. Don't be the inner critic. Speak life, speak love, speak bravery, kindness, and hope. Speak wisdom and truth. Most of all, listen to your children. I never had none of that. I get that to mine.
So when we talk about this, right, and you see how he gets emotional about it and how he feels like when he's receiving that, when he's thinking about it and processing it from his childhood growing up. Listen, he identifies that he's never had that. He's never had that feeling. A lot of you haven't. A lot of you haven't felt that level of compassion coming from your family members or your parents, whatever it may be. A lot of you may have went through certain things, right? That would refrain you from being able to feel certain emotions or make you feel as though you don't deserve to feel certain ways, right? That's one of the biggest things is that when people go into it, it's more like an undeserving feeling, like they don't deserve to feel, like they don't deserve to feel levels of anger, of stress, whatever it may be. They have to suppress those levels of emotion, right? And that's the result. That's just the result of having a family or coming from a family that may not be very loving or may not be there for you emotionally. You know what I'm saying? Like not allowing you a safe space to be able to open up. And my thing is that, when we have that particular thing as a generational curse, y'all, it's obvious what type of effects it has. That's when you start to develop people who are destructive, you know what I'm saying, in society, who are not very productive. They start to lash out. They start to do things and act. And some of them might come from a really good home, 2-parent home, things like that. And they still are acting out. They still are destructive. Why? Because they're not able to express themselves. And so in other outlets, they're using that energy in other outlets. They're acting out. They're being disruptive. They're destroying property, whatever it may be. And you wonder, like, man, what happened to them? As a parent, right? As a parent, you wonder, like, man, what happened to this person? What happened to my child? Like, why is my child joining a gang? Why is my child out here doing A, B, and C? Well, because they're trying to find people to connect with that's going to understand them, not only emotionally, but at period. Anybody who's looking to, they're trying to find somebody who's going to take the time out to hear them out, or to show them respect, or to show them different things that would make them more productive, right? And some of us will take a position like, oh well, they gotta get over it. You know what I mean? They're children. They gotta, And in some ways, you're absolutely right. Yeah, they gotta submit. They are children. They must obey and honor their mother and their father. But at the same time, we are tasked to love one another. So how are we showing love? By force and submission without giving them opportunities to express, right? Giving them opportunities to do it in a healthy way. And we got to kind of change that about our environment with our future generations. We got to change that because they got to understand how to deal with things in a very healthy way, and not a way that would breed negativity, that will wound them up in prison or a jail cell, that will place them in certain positions that they don't need to be in life. They're seeking, searching for people who can understand them, not only emotionally, but whatever it may be, on whatever level they seem to be fit. But, ourselves, like, I miss the times where we actually sat down as a family, right? And you had a dinner table and you had an opportunity to share your day with the family. Like, those healthy types of outlets of emotion, right? Being able to talk about things. Those things is what I kind of is what people are missing nowadays. Is taking the time to have family bonding, to be able to bond, to be able to spend time with one another, get to know each other truly, right? Um, it's missing. And this is what you hear Dez Bryant talking about. You hear him talking about this because it is something that systemically is missing, not only in the melanated community, but also in every community in the Western culture, in the Western society, in the United States, right? Because I can only speak for the United States. A lot of us are, majority of us are. If I were to take a poll right now, y'all, if I were to take a poll right now and I were to ask and take a survey and ask how many families on average spend time with each other, right? During dinner or whatever it may be, a family type of gathering, whatever it may be, outside of holidays, so-called worldly holidays, or, high holy feast days, right? Outside of keeping these traditions, how many of us spend a daily, like daily, spend time with each other, talk to each other, right? Deal with each other hands on, very hands on, communicative, teaching, your children how to deal with emotions and how to compartmentalize their emotions, how to control outbursts, how to control their self, if they're upset or angry or frustrated about a situation. How many of you had opportunities like that to do it? A lot of you are too busy working. A lot of you are too busy working, trying to provide. A lot of you are too busy working, trying to provide, and also entertaining yourself. Because when you're done working, you want to have some time for you time, right? Like, you want you time, you know what I mean? Once you're done working. And, that energy that your children would actually require from you, you may be exhausted and not be able to give them that energy, right? Whereas to where the public food system, the public school systems are now teaching and training and raising your children. You know what I mean? So they are being taught by the public school system. And you may be not in agreement or completely out of alignment with a lot of things they may be being taught. So it's like, this is a society that we currently have created. We created a society where we are not pouring back into the next generation, but they are pouring back into themselves and finding other outlets to teach and raise themselves. Whereas to where we as parents, right, are too busy trying to grind, trying to work, and trying to make a living, earn a living to provide for them. Of course, our economy is all but shit, right? And this is one of the biggest contributors as to why. If you were to go back, of course, the 50s, the 40s, the 50s, things like that, right? Where times where it wasn't so expensive in order to live and operate. Of course, one income could definitely sustain a family, and you can live pretty comfortably off of that one income. Nowadays, of course, that is not the case. You need at least about a couple of incomes on average for the average household. You need at least a couple incomes coming in, and then even then you still struggling to put food on the table, right? Even then it's still difficult for you to be able to make something work. So it's like, when we identifying a lot of these things, we got to know what challenges we face so we can help each other overcome those challenges, right? So we help each other overcome those challenges. And so that way we can have it in our minds to overcome the challenges that we face, right? Breaking all curses that remove our purity before Yah, repentance and turning to Yah as we repent and are cleansed by the Father, and generations curses have to go. Hallelujah. Absolutely. Train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he turns not away. He shall not depart from it. That's correct. That's correct. Absolutely. My dad had an 8th grade education and worked for Chrysler. Bought a house and 2 Harleys man, in Indiana. And in Indiana, this was back in 1955 and 60. Yeah, absolutely. 8th grade education, working for Chrysler. Nowadays, you gotta literally about have a degree in order to get a job somewhere like Chrysler, for them to actually see you and want to hire you. And even then, a lot of the power earners are being laid off from some of these multi-six-figure jobs. You got AI that's replacing majority of all people, right? In a lot of these big companies like Amazon and in other companies and corporations, where AI is replacing them, or they're just replacing them all entirely, right? It's just not the same. 8th grade education, working at Chrysler, right? Driving having his own house, driving Harleys and all that other stuff. You know what I mean? That's just not this is not what we see nowadays. Homes are typically anywhere between 300,000 to what was they starting at $300,000. Okay, nice homes are typically starting at $300,000, and it ain't even nothing that's worth buying. Like, they're particle wood, plywood, particle board, drywall, sheets of drywall. It's not even built the same way that it was back in 1955 and 1960. You know what I mean? It's not even built the same. The structures are a lot less durable, and they're just pieces of plywood and particle board. They throw it up there, and that's it. You know what I mean? It's not even the same material. The homes are more expensive nowadays, and they're cheaper building material, but they're way more, twice or 3 times the amount that they used to be, right? Which is crazy. Homes were what, 15,000 back then, around 1960, $15,000, and these homes are still around to this day. The ones he's talking about that cost $15,000 then are still around to this day, and guess how much they cost now? $200,000 plus, which is crazy, because it was $15,000 then, and the building material was way more durable, and the homes had more integrity. You can rely on the homes more. Look how long they lasted. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, these homes that are being built, just cheap plywood, particle board, drywall, just a bunch of cheap material. You know what I mean? Depending on what type of home you build. And I'm just talking about the normal homes that started around $300,000, and then plus it goes up from there, right? So, I mean, when we're identifying a lot of these things, right? This is the reason why we don't have the patience. This is the reason why we don't have the patience. We don't have the energy, the anything to be able to pour back into the next generation. You understand what I'm saying? Let's take a listen.
And that's my number one priority. That's how I follow that. That's how I break it. And I do it. I live it. That narrative shit. That's what they never wanted to pick
Give me a
up.
second, bro.
Grateful for it.
Damn, dog.
All right. So my thing is this, right? When men are able to take a position like this, right, and they can embrace each other and they can be able to have those out, those were some of the most outlets out. You don't want to do this in front of the people who look to you for strength, right? You don't want to do this in front of your wife. You want to do this in front of you want to do this in front of the men. Your brother that's next to you who understands your plight, who understands where you're coming from, because most of the time we've all been through the same thing, understanding how to deal with emotions, right, and having to suppress and oppress our emotions, period. This is what we are forced to do as men in the society, right? All while of course some things that we do not have any control over, it definitely takes place in the society that we currently live in the Western society, right? Western culture. Because I promise you now, we have we have the most expensive economy, one of the most expensive economies to live in, right? One of the most expensive economies. And, it can be very difficult, right, to be able to make some things shake unless you really just got it. And honestly, the best way to kind of relieve a lot of that is to move to a different country that is not so taxing, right? That is not so burdensome financially. And then at that point, you see a lot of people who become very wealthy because they had to get to a lot of the United States. Only then do you have more time to be able to pour into your children to stop and break some of these generational curses, y'all. I really wanted to go over that because I think that we all have our opportunities to where we struggle with it, right? Where a lot of our families, our households, the children, whatever it may be, are struggling with it. And we're all about breaking generational curses, especially in this generation moving forward, is breaking generational curses, hearing out each other out, and developing a healthier generation to come, right? Now, I really want to go over this, right? Because my thing is this. We're going to go on to the next topic, right? Because my thing is this the main topic here. And when we're thinking about people who are taking opportunities, okay, who are taking opportunities to grift the people, right? Who are taking opportunities to grift, who are taking opportunities to take advantage of. You see this a lot that goes on within the Christian church. You see it a lot that goes on within all kinds of different groups, sects, religions, whatever it may be, whatever you want to call it, mostly religion, right? But you do have some who call themselves or refer to themselves as being a faith-based organization, right? You can identify them as being cults. A lot of them are cult leaders. A lot of them have cult-like mentalities. And I'm going to try and see if I can get this thing to play for me here, but forgive me if it does not play well. But let's listen in as to what this guy has to say about this, because when it comes to resources, when we hear Yeshua talk about the scribes and the Pharisees and them struggling to deal with the weightier matters, right? Struggling to deal with the things that truly, I often thought, right? And I've often thought about it like, man, what does he mean by the weightier matters? What did Yeshua mean by the weightier matters when he spoke to the scribes and the Pharisees and how they neglect those matters, right? I always thought about it. I always was like, man, what is he really talking about? And, when I watched this video, it offered up a real nice perspective, something to really chew on, something to really think about. The perspective that he offered up, that you should definitely study more about, right? Was like, man, that is pretty solid as to what Yeshua meant. Let's take a listen as to what he had to say real quick, y'all.
Going to do normally is they're going to minor on the major of scripture and they're going to major on the minor.
That's good.
Jesus said to the Pharisees, who were false teachers that for their generation, you strain out a gnat and you swallow a camel. What is he basically saying? Well, guys, you pay tithes of your garden herbs. You are so particular about paying your tithes because you all love money. But he said, you've neglected the weightier matters of the word of God. So that means there are matters that are more weighty than others. And the matter matters that they neglected were mercy, justice, and faith. The first ones you should have done. You should have kept the minors, but he said you should have majored in the majors. So that's like the Pharisees saying the highest form of evil is not paying tithe of your cumin in your garden. That is not the highest form of evil. The highest form of evil, Jesus was saying, is that you don't love these people. You're greedy for money. You're twisting everything for your own personal advantage. Yeah. That is the highest form of evil.
So I'm going to play this one more time, y'all, because I think that it might have went through kind of quick. But, you know, the weightier matters being compassion, being mercy, being these sort of things, right, that are spoken about often, like the things that would be done to another saint or another individual, right, that'll keep them stagnant in their faith, that'll keep them stagnant in their spiritual growth. Because I don't care what you say or how you say it, when you show the lack of compassion or the lack of mercy, and you're supposed to be somebody who's a believer, right? You're supposed to be a leader in Israel. You're supposed to be somebody who's a leader in Israel, who's a believer, who is supposed to be a bishop, whatever it may be, right? Holding a position. And you show somebody the lack of mercy, compassion, right? You don't show yourself to be very compassionate, very merciful. Then think about what damage you're doing, what type of blood is going to be on your hands the moment you are rejecting, destroying, blasting, pulling somebody's information, their private information, right? And blasting that to the public, right? Blasting that for all to hear. Think about what you're doing to those individuals. Think about what you're doing to them. A lot of people have seen and identified it, right? And a lot of people have walked away from faith in its entirety because of the simple fact that they thought that Yah's people were in a particular group. And in that group, they saw a lot of wickedness from the people themselves. And they suffered at the hands of that wickedness, that unrighteousness, right? We take straightway, for instance, and a lot of people who have left Dakota straightway. We take individuals that's leaving Jehovah's Witnesses, that's leaving Methodists, United Methodists, or whatever that is, leaving these particular cult-like religions, okay? And those cult-like religions take it upon themselves to blast them, to reveal all of their private information. Those are some of the weightier matters. Those are some of the things that would constitute slander, would constitute sometimes gossip, you know, and that would destroy somebody's reputation or destroy one's reputation. That leads people astray. That doesn't lead people closer to the Father. That doesn't lead people to feel like that they're being accepted and not rejected. It leads people into rejection the moment you start to take their name and rub it in the mud. And it's just obvious that that's the real core issue. That's one of the weightier matters, right? Because this is not physical damage that's being done. This is spiritual damage that's being done when you are not showing, or you're showing a lack of compassion. When you're showing a lack of compassion, of trying to understand one's position, whatever it may be, but you're actually approaching them with respect and with honor and with integrity, whatever it may be, right? This is a spiritual problem. Forget about the rest of it, right? Forget about everything else with tithing. Tithing is not a salvific issue, okay? It's not a salvific issue. Now, there's something that we should definitely hold true to, right? We should definitely want to tithe, right? And my thing is that you're going to tithe regardless. The reason why I say it's not a salvific issue is because it's just not difficult for one to be charitable, right? For you to show charity, for you to want to give, that's not one of the issues that we need to really be hanging heavy on. But when you walk into a Christian church, that's all you hear. You hear tithe. You hear that you need to give your last, that you need to give the last dollar, and you're supposed to go buy that loaf of bread to be able to feed your family with it. But, you know, if you give that last dollar, and of course that the Father will bless you with 10 times more, right? And abundance, things like that. But when you give it grudgingly, of course, there's no blessings that come from that. So it's like, you know, they weigh so heavy on giving, on tithing, that it kind of wears people out. It's like, what are you here to do? Just to fund the church, just to fund and keep the lights on? Yeah, of course. But it's like there's things that are so much more important that need to be addressed in this church than just tithing. Let's talk about the levels of gossip that goes on within these particular religious cults, religious groups, religious sects. You know what I mean? Let's talk about the level of gossip. There's no reason why another person should hear, oh, that somebody said this about you. There's no reason why that should go on amongst believers. Why is it that that is a thing that in an abundant amount amongst believers who claim to read the Bible, who claim to read the scriptures, and it's a Hebrew Israelite and Christianity alike. There is it's a lot worse in the Hebrew Israelite community, right? It's a lot worse because things really do. People have no restraints when it comes to the Hebrew Israelite culture. From what I'm observing, they'll come and blast you in the open in a heartbeat if they feel like they know something about you. You get what I'm saying? They'll come and they'll maliciously attack that, right? Like I still got this individual, what's his name? Mike, who's still talking, who's still running his mouth. Not only that, I just got a recent email coming from YouTube, which I really wish they would go through more extensive screening. Man, I haven't said nothing, directed nothing towards this brother. I haven't done none of this stuff. This brother has been constantly picking, right? He has not stopped. He continues and continues and continues. I wake up and I get an email this morning from YouTube. They're talking about a copyright strike. So he filled out another copyright strike form for the channel, trying to shut the channel down. Now, this is a completely separate way, right? Forget, somebody who has identified that you may have used your content for reaction purposes, right? And so they ask you to remove it. That's different, right? It's just a removal request in which you can be able to clip it out or whatever it may be. You can clip it out or whatever, you can take it down if anything, but it doesn't give you a copyright strike. A copyright strike, you have to go out of your way. You got to go and fill out all of these forms. You got to submit it to the to YouTube. They got to review some things and then they would determine to take it down or whatever, based on whatever information that's been given to them by the other party. Now it's up to me to reply to it, to respond, rebut it. And the moment I rebut it, it definitely takes a different toll. But when somebody's maliciously attacking you to try to take down your channel, whatever success you're having, the progress that you're having on what you're doing, because they are having none, right? Because they're still bitter about whatever situation they got going on, and they will continue to hold and harbor unforgiveness, bitterness, and all these other things. You're damn right, Mike, you're not a Hebrew. I'm glad that you can identify that within yourself, that you're not that. You're also not an Israelite, right? And so my thing is this, right? I don't believe that you hold the characteristics of somebody who can identify as that. And that's just my personal opinion, okay? That everybody doesn't have to hold that opinion. But my thing is this, right? He's still going. He's still going. He's still trying to find ways to be able to try to destroy the hard work. He's still trying to find ways to do it. And this is what discourages people from the faith. This is what discourages people from wanting to walk things out. This is what discourages people. He's still going on and on about Peter and Paul and how Peter did spend at least 15 days with Paul. I've read that. I've already dissected it. I've already broken it down. There's no need for me to go back and forth with the conversation. Peter spent 15 days with Paul before he went off into his journey. They spent 15 days together. Do you think that they were spending 15 days and learning how to cook? Were they learning how to bake sourdough bread? Were they learning how to prepare? What was they doing for 15 days together? What's Peter, who's somebody who walked with Yeshua, and Paul, who's been taught by Yeshua? What did Peter do with Paul? Of course, he's going to share information. He's going to teach Paul the ways of the Messiah, of how he walked, things like that. You understand what I'm saying? Not only that, he's going to give him more information about the dream he had about clean and unclean beasts, meaning that we should not call any man uncommon or unclean. So when we have conversations like this, we got to understand this, that, you know, people are trying to draw you into a bit of a back and forth about something they may be ignorant, because they're low base minded. They don't know how to read into things with their spiritual eye, with their spiritual mind, and they just go based on surface level, right? And they want to bring up pointless arguments, right? And what does it say, right? That you should avoid these things at all costs with people who are foolish and unlearned, right? And I know it talks about questioning, but man, there's other things that come into play with that as well, right? You need to avoid these things. But you know, I can't help but to give the information that's needed. And it aligns directly with the topic that we're having now. When people are claiming to be faith-based individuals, people who believe in the Messiah, people who believe in a higher power, and they take positions of trying effortlessly, right? And they're making all of these videos and they're trying effortlessly to try to get your channel shut down, whatever it may be. And they're still spreading false information, false rumor, whatever it may be, and they're not trying to at least get it right, right? Then those are some of the people that actually contribute to the harm that's being done. They contribute to the harm. They don't help anybody. They're not in the business of helping anyone. They're not in the business of actually teaching or training anyone at all. Honestly, not really. You understand what I'm saying? They really could care less. They might just do it to try to make themselves look good or try to make themselves seem like that they're moral or something like that. So they'll throw something out there every now and then. But it's not about what you do in the open. It's about what you're doing privately to help others, to be able to help them build, to be able to help them mold and develop and grow within themselves. It's not about what you're doing in the public, in the open. And I think that a lot of us know that. I think a lot of us know that, but some of us, we fail to realize that nobody cares that you pop out every so often to try to drop what you believe is a gem on somebody. We care about what your actions are. You had a conflict, Mike. You had a conflict, Karatazar. A lot of you individuals had conflicts, and you chose to hang on to the offense rather than try to sort it out with your brother and sister, right? Those are some of the weightier matters that Yeshua was speaking about to the scribes and Pharisees. The weightier matters, the compassion, the love, whatever it may be, right? Those weightier matters. Yeah, you can go out here and talk about tithing and giving and things like that. You can talk about how you just built a multi-million-dollar mansion overlooking a pond with a Polaris out front. You can talk about how your ministry believes in building on land. You can talk about all these different things, but when it comes to compassion, when it comes to understanding, when it comes to conflict resolution, these are some of the more weightier matters that spiritually people deal with. When people see that you will not forgive and you will not find ways to make amends with somebody who you have an out with or disagreement with, then root of bitterness can take root. The root of bitterness can take root, not only in that individual's heart, but also in yours, because you're constantly, like I just described, Mike, I woke up this morning and saw that he filled out another form for copyright strike, another frivolous form to try to get me striked, right? And I got to rebut that again. This is turning into a full-time job. My thing is this, right? When somebody is still wearing their pamper or diaper like this, right, and they still need their ass wiped, and they don't know how to come and talk to you and sort out the conflict and be a real man and be a real man of integrity to sort out a conflict, to do conflict resolution, then the root of bitterness can take root, not only in your life, but that individual's life, which of course has already taken root in his life. He's already got the root of bitterness. It makes it even more difficult for your faith and your spiritual walk, because you got to find reasons that you need to forgive this individual. You got to forgive them. You got to let it go. You can't let that bitterness take root. These are the weightier matters, because that's the things that affect the spirit. It affects the spirit. It don't affect the flesh. It affects the spirit. You understand what I'm saying? So, since we as a people, right, and you identify people who cannot do this, who aren't capable of this, then you got to know that they're not walking in love. They're not walking in light. They're not the light unto the Gentiles. They're just not. Some people who claim to be Israel aren't all Israel. Some people who are part of this thing are tares amongst the wheat. And you can identify them by their relentless acts of discord, right? Or trying to show discord or separation. You understand what I'm saying? It's one thing to talk to somebody about their own private matters, right? And say, hey, I think you need to build and grow and do better at this. But it's another thing to relentlessly attack them about that private matter openly on an open platform and believe that you are right or justifying yourself in that. That's wicked. That's not righteous. It's wicked. When you identify that somebody is doing something to destroy somebody else's life, and you identify that and you speak up on that unrighteousness, you speak up on that wickedness, that is you defending the needy, defeating the poor, right? Defending the poor. That's you speaking up pursuant to Leviticus 5:1. But when you're just taking somebody's private personal matters and you're just trying to destroy their reputation, that's just you operating out of your flesh. That's just you trying to operate after the lust of the flesh. That's you operating after the will of Satan. I mean, that's how you operate. Me personally, I can't necessarily say, right? Or I can't say that I've leaned so heavy on somebody's personal and private life and their personal and private information, right? And said, you know what? I'm gonna attack them and relentlessly do it, right? Weeks and weeks and weeks on end. And they don't have anything. I don't even really have any real tangible proof and evidence in my claim. I don't even have any real proof that this person is guilty of what I'm claiming they are. I'm just saying it because it sounds like something great to say. It sounds like something great to say, and it might piss that person off. It might make them upset. It might make them look a certain way. It might destroy whatever they're working hard to build. So I'm just going to talk about it. I'm just going to keep talking about it. I'm going to keep doing it until I get the results that I'm looking for. And which a lot of these individuals, like Mike, want you to focus on them so heavy that you don't do anything else with your life, that you shut down everything in your life, that you go run with your tail tucked between your legs and you try to find something this and that and that and this. And that's what their hopes is. Their hopes is that you cowered down and that you stop doing whatever and that you shut down your whole world in existence because they're the ones who open their mouth to talk. Honestly, it's sad. It's sad, but it's something that we constantly, continuously deal with. It just is what it is. It's constantly we continue to deal with this, right? And which you got to start to pursue other remedies because they're not going to get the picture. They're not going to get the picture. But these don't help us build. It doesn't help us grow. It doesn't help us be a good example to people. It effectively makes us look very bad. It brings shame on the name of Yahweh. It brings shame in the name of Yeshua. It brings even more disdain and discord inside the fellowship. And that's all it really does, right? Even though we're looking to move past it. Even though we're looking to say, you know what? It is what it is. We did the best we could to work. Moving on, right? We're at. When is Mike supposed to be arrested on or taken to court for this actions? Yeah. So that's going to be the next steps. So I'm trying to keep that kind of discreet a little bit, but I gotta move forward now. There's no other reason. Listen, I can't show mercy. He's not allowing me to show him mercy. He's doing the best he can to make sure that I'm merciless with this whole situation, right? And I'm doing the best that I can to show him some levels of mercy, okay? But we just got to do it. We just got to move forward. Mike call could be under a principality or stronghold. Yeah, yeah. And I think that there's nuances of autism there. I think that we've been deliberating. Is he autistic? Because if Mike is autistic, right, then I'll feel terrible because a lot of autistic people, they usually have this relentless I guess focus on certain things, right? And they relentlessly focus on it until it's done or until they're completed it and they won't stop. You know what I mean? But he seems autistic, right? But autistic people, they're very intelligent. Right? They're very intelligent in what they know. Um, but what I'm saying is that I think he's got some mental challenges. Is that appropriate to say? Um, I think and from what I can observe, I mean the guy is. Anyways, yeah. It's a shame to see elder people acting like that, trying to impress certain people, trying to show them you're some kind of badass that will speak up, right? The right tough guy. Speak up, real tough guy. Putting pictures of other people, children online is unacceptable. I don't know. Hopefully, he hasn't done that. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know if he's done that or not. I haven't been keeping up with his stuff. But that is inappropriate, right? So that is inappropriate, and I don't think that you should be doing that. Now, that's one thing that I refrain from doing. I don't go super hard on the women. You know what I'm saying? And also, I don't be trying to blast the children out there like they did something wrong. You get what I'm saying? Like, nah, and there's no point in doing that. ADHD, hyperfixation for some. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hyperfixation, ADHD, something's going on there, right? And I'm not talking down on the community. I'm not talking down on that, but it's like I would feel bad, right? I'll feel bad and I will proceed to take a few of the videos down that I've made because he's been diagnosed with a lot of this hyperfixation, a lot of this stuff here, right? And now I would have a better understanding as to who he is as a person. Because regardless on what he wants you to believe, I've never had really any personal conversations with Mike. We never really actually sat down and had real personal conversations, deep conversations. Never had those. You know, whatever confidence he has toward whatever he speaks about, um, I'm not too sure it's where he gets it from. That's why I believe like a lot of his testimony that he gave that he might have been lying the whole time, a majority of the time, because he gives these so-called testimonies or whatever, pretending to be a witness of something, and truly it's just false information or misleading or misguided information, whatever it may be. So I don't like that. Me personally, if you're going to give a testimony, you need to keep it real with your testimony. You don't need to be sitting up here lying or putting fluff on something or trying to make something seem like it's not. Like I said, the whole situation between him, Dow, and Elder Ezekiel or Donnie, I believe that Mike was meddling in their business and putting those two against each other and kind of like just in there just doing a little mischief, right? And so he got body slammed. He got put on his head for it. And so, a lot of times we got to understand that that's the result. That's the result. You can't just be mischievous, work in mischief, and think that does not come with consequences. It does. You got consequences that'll come behind that, right? Shaking everyone. Bless y'all. Oh, bless you, bless you, bless you. Welcome in. Good to see you in this thing, y'all. For everybody who's just dropping in, demons will cook someone's mind. Mike is infested like Dow and Victoria. Yeah. And same thing with Victoria. Man, this chick, she filled out a form to have one of my videos taken down because of her name, based on her name alone, and which her YouTube channel had her full name on it. So I still got to address that. I ain't forgot about you, Victoria. I promise you, I still got proof and evidence. I'm going to submit that proof and evidence, and they're going to have to lift whatever they took that video down. They're going to have to reinstate the video because, yeah, you changed your name recently, right? And then you went to YouTube and lied about whatever you said, right? And so, you know, I'm going to have to address that and fix it. And this is what these people do. They'll do things to manipulate the situation. They'll lie to whoever they got to lie to be able to get things done, to make it seem like that they've done something. And they haven't. Shalom, everyone. Bless y'all. Bless you. Yep. Shalom and bless you. Was that a picture of your son he put online? I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. Like I said, I haven't really followed Mike. I haven't really followed him. But my thing is this, right? You know, if he's out here doing, let me take a look. Because if he's out here doing shit like that, then that's definitely going to be a problem. That's definitely going to be a problem. And I'm going to pursue him because that's not something you should be doing. You're not authorized to be able to utilize any pictures or anything like that to be able to post somebody else's child. And he's been doing a lot of stuff that I haven't even moved on. I haven't moved YouTube against him on, right? Because he's doing a lot of stuff that's going to violate that cease and desist order that I sent to him, and he's already violated it. So let's keep it a buck. So I'm moving to the next phases. Oop. Mike acting like 2 testimonies he's got in his pocket somewhere. He's treating them like currency. I'm not too sure as to why. Because he doesn't even have the right name. That's the crazy part. He don't even got my name correct. He didn't even got the right name. So I'm trying to understand who's he getting this? Who's his source? Who's his source? Because whoever his source is, they are definitely leading him down the wrong path, right? And so they're actively working with me and not against me. So he don't even got the right name. So I'm trying to understand where he's getting his information from, who's his source. You know what I mean? All of that good stuff. And I just decided to talk about this today because I got a strike this morning, right? In which I'm just like, oh my gosh, another thing I got to do, or in a vast amount of things that I got to do. Here's another thing I got to stop and actually pay and give some attention to, because the guy just won't give it up. He will not stop. It's just like, bro, go find something safe to do, man. Go do something safe. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, just go. You know what I mean? You're being a pest at this point. It's like when you at the barbecue, this gnat just keeps coming around. It's like you're trying to shoot a gnat away, and you got all this. You gotta queue it up. You gotta cook the food. You feel me? You gotta get the beers cold. You gotta get all this stuff done. And here you go. You got a gnat at the barbecue, just being a little pest, little natty little pest. You know what I mean? So, you know, sometimes you got to just get the electric fly swatter, you know, and get rid of that gnat. But yeah, absolutely. But I'm gonna take a look. If he's got pictures up of my son or any of my children, then I'm gonna definitely address that. I'm gonna address that with him big time. And that would be another thing that I can place on the petition, right? On a petition. In which, you know, effectively I know what I'm doing with those. So let's continue. But yeah, I also noticed something, right, y'all? I noticed that Dow came out and made this particular video, y'all. He made this video about economy, right? About the economy, right? And he tried to make it seem like he was empathizing with the position of people who are dealing with economic issues. Okay, saying that he had plenty of content that'll help them economically, right? And I just thought this was like a surprise because, you know, recently I definitely exposed him for being somebody who could care less about you, you know, and your state, right? Your wealth, whatever it may be. He could care less, right? If you're not making it as a man, right? If you're kind of falling apart upon hard times, he would not go out his way to make sure that you good. He just wouldn't. If it's Kabir, if it's somebody else that's high up there, he's recently been spotted on somebody else's land. I'm pretty sure he's scoping it out to see, you know, why they haven't signed it over to his foundation yet, or why, right? They haven't given it to him, right? Giving him the title or whatever deed, you know what I'm saying? Or giving him the deed for the land. Why they haven't done so? And if they do decide to give it to him, he wants to know at least what he's getting. So why not fly out there and check it out, see what their homestead's about, give him a few pointers, right? Because eventually it may be his land. It may be underneath his foundation if they continue on with the ministry. But this person was extremely excited about him visiting the land, which is awesome, right? They got some pictures and all that good stuff. It's another opportunity also to try to show somebody up, right? But it still makes you look bad. So you'll go catch a flight to go see somebody's land, right? That potentially is going to be yours, but you won't catch flight to go somebody's funeral and preach a sermon. Like, what type of preacher or pastor are you? Right? What kind of preacher or pastor are you? You refuse to do it. But a lot of this stuff goes on. A lot of this stuff happens. A lot of this stuff goes on. Let's take a look, because I'm lagging big time. I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go because it's struggling. Okay. All right. We good? Just all right. So I'm noticing a lot of these things, right? And you gotta know when I'm speaking about this stuff, it's because for somebody who claims that they don't keep up with the videos, that they're not listening in when people saying, he sure has a lot of time. He sure does address a lot of things with accuracy that is being said on this side of the fence. And I make it very hard for you to ignore because I tag you in all of that. And I don't speak on nothing unless I've got sources to back it up. And if somebody comes on and tell their testimony, they better damn sure be telling the truth. And that's all I got to say. You better be telling the truth, because my thing is that this internet is forever. I don't care how hard you want to remove your testimony. Listen, it's still going to be here. The internet is forever. You better tell the truth. The Most High is definitely going to record what you're saying. He's definitely going to be listening on what you're saying. So when you tell a testimony to try to help others make a sound decision not to deal with this particular ministry or a particular cult, want to make sure that you're telling the truth. You understand what I'm saying? All right. Got in his pocket somewhere. Yeah, I'll be looking forward to, because I see, I'll be looking forward to whatever he feels he needs to come out and say. Like, honestly, tell you the truth. I want to see if he actually tells the truth for once, if he actually gives you factual information. He don't even give you the right name. That's not even the right name. And not only that, he shouldn't be putting somebody's full name out here in a public platform and bashing them at the same time. Even though that's not my name, even though that ain't me. Whoever he's looked up, I'm not too sure is who they are. But he definitely got the wrong person. All right, so I think that we should go ahead and we should hit this. Let me see. Let's dive into this thing real quick. Let's dive into the hot news of the week, y'all. Let's dive. All right, so there is a particular video out here, y'all, surfacing. I don't know if y'all know who Mike Epps is, right? I'm gonna switch gears. I don't know y'all know who Mike Epps is, but Mike Epps is a comedian. But my thing is that he was speaking on some facts. He was speaking some truth, and I really want to bring that out here because it fits right in with what we're talking about right now. He's talking about TD Jakes. He's talking about his experience with Christianity, things like that. And I thought it was very interesting that we need to kind of just check out, man. Let's listen in to what he had to say.
Pure people, best people in the world, love them. But when I moved to New York, walking down 125th Street, I had a bunch of tapes and DVDs. I picked the DVD up. Man, it was a white man that founded it, that was from England. And I called my mother. I said, Mama, did you know a white man founded this from England? And she was mad at me. because I found that information. But it was real. I said, Mom, that's right. I said, Mama, a white man founded this in the 1800s. I forget his name, but you can Google it. And when I called my mother to tell my mother that, she got upset with me because if she didn't want to know. She said, I don't want to hear that. I said, yeah, white man. The first thing I thought of myself, I ain't finna follow no, because as soon as I find out a white man's involved, then I feel tricked. Period. I did. You know how probably white people, how they feel about us, we got feelings about them too.
So you feel like you was bamboozled?
I do. I was like, damn, if I'm following instructions from some man who founded a program,
This is when you kind of get into really the underlying belief that I believe that he has of religion as a whole, which is very interesting.
I think I need to hear God at the same time he do. I don't need to get no messages from you.
Let me get it from the direct.
Let me hear. I want to hear it when you hear he said it.
Give me the secondhand message.
I don't trust no man giving me nothing to God. Let me tell y'all what God says. I'm gonna tell him we want to hear it too. I want to hear what he told you.
I swear, listen, you can't be too safe out here, man. Like, you heard what? Yeah, I want to hear it too. You cannot be too safe out here, man. You start to fall into these traps, man. These traps that these false teachers didn't set for you. Like, yo, you said, oh, okay, I want to hear that for myself. You understand what I'm saying? I want to hear it for myself even, let alone you heard it for me. You hear what I'm saying? Let alone you heard it for me, right? It makes prophets that's supposed to be during this time, right? Because I'm not, whether the Father's going to raise up prophets for us that are not. You know what I mean? A lot of prophets are just to call out sin. You understand? To call you out for whatever you got going on. My thing is this, right? It's hard to hear people prophesy because it's like, are you truly talking to the Father? Or are you talking to Satan? Who you talking to, really? You understand what I'm saying? Let me test and try your spirit. So Mike Epps is hitting the nail on the head with that. Come on.
Out of his mouth. Because you could be 9 times out of 10, you're just telling us that to get us to wherever you got the information in, I can find it too. How
you feel about preachers with all these Rolls Royces and jets?
Pimping has been going on since the beginning of time. And again, people want to be tricked. That's crazy. When I was a kid and I seen those evangelists on TV, I noticed they come on at 4:30 in the morning. Who's up at 4:30 in the morning? Your grandmother. Old women who's old, feel like they're going to die any moment. This on TV saying, send your money now. Salvation is looking for you, God. And they write a check. Old people sit there and write a check. Hell.
Hey, you got to know that guys like Prophet Lovey, okay? Guys like Prophet Lovey, guys like Dow, these individuals, man, they literally feed off of people who are willingly giving their funds, their resources, right? Lovey calls it sowing a seed, right? Sowing a seed, and then you gotta call him Poppy. If you don't call him Poppy, then you ain't none of his, right? He ain't gonna bless you. You gotta call him Poppy, though. You know what I'm saying? But he says sow your seed, and he tell you what type of seed to sow. And if you sow the seed, then I guess you get some benefits from that, right? But it's typically witchcraft. It's what's been coming out. That's what's been revealed, is that he's performing witchcraft. So these things that take place in your life after you do whatever you do with the Lovey guy, and you sow the seed, he's performing witchcraft. He's performing hoodoo, voodoo, whatever it is that they do, right? In order to get those things to manifest in reality. Same thing with Dow. You got to understand, there's levels of manipulation and control there. Just ask the widow he took $105,000 from. Manipulation, control. Oh, I don't want to be talked about bad. I want to be labeled a Jezebel, an anti-Messiah bitch, a disingenuine bitch. I don't want to be labeled that in public at all. So I'm going to give him whatever I give him in order to deem myself to be faithful, just so I can be bounced around from one community to the next, right? While he's spending all of my cash. It's sad. From the sale of this home, it's sad. But this is what takes place. Let's continue. Y'all.
Yeah, that's somebody will be mad at our thing. They'll say me and you manipulating people for money, and say that you selling sex, drugs, and murder, and they'll say that I'm selling the same thing. Y'all selling negative to make money.
He made a good point. But there's a difference between the individuals who are pimping out the gospel and the individuals who actually have a pure heart. There is a difference. You can't put them all into one category and act like they're all the same.
Well, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. And we're going to keep it real, man. It's hard to tell because, yeah, you selling negative stuff. You selling negative shit. When you're doing what you're doing, you're selling negativity. That's what you're selling. When you somebody like Dow, sell all and give it to me, because guess what? You need to come out of these cities, because once it hits the fan, right? He's banking on your nervous breakdown that STF may happen, that shit may hit the fan, and that you want people around you to help you protect and defend. Listen, he's banking on those desires, right? It's not necessarily so you can sell all and follow Yeshua, even though he plays it like that, right? Because Dow himself won't take all that he has and sell it, right? He won't sell all his lands. He won't sell all of his merchandise, his cars, his Polaris. He won't sell all these things in order to follow Yeshua, right? In fact, he might spit in Yeshua's face if he came back and said, "Hey, sell all of this and follow me." He might spit in his face like, "Y'all, this," because it makes him who he is. It makes him who he is as a person. He would define that person as being somebody against him rather than for him, right? Like he says that I'm his enemy because I'm telling him the truth, right? Because it don't feel good, but you done it. Hey, and it didn't feel good to me when you falsely did it. You hear what I'm saying? But my thing is that when we're trying to help each other, I can still say that when you falsely did me that way, it helped me, it encouraged me, it motivated me to go out and get it, right? But when I'm telling you what I'm telling you, I'm hoping it motivates you, Dow. I hope it encourages you. I hope it motivates you to want to do better for your saints, the people who choose to be a part of your ministry, because I choose not to be. But the ones who do choose to be, I want them to have a better situation where they don't have to worry about the same things that some of the other ones left and had to worry about. You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, you should definitely be cheering me on in my endeavors with that, Dow.
Oh, Hercules.
I don't see why not. Why not? Let's listen in as to what else he had to say about this thing. Let's see. Let's listen in what else he had to say, y'all.
Slavery. I don't give a fuck how much money you got. I don't give a fuck where you been. We're still on the plantation, brother. The privilege that they give black people, that only black people can flex on other black people with, because that's all you can do, because you can't flex on the motherfucking master, because he gave it to you. You go out there and flex on your people, because if you flex on me, your ass is in trouble. And what you got, that's my fuck up money. I spend that in taxes.
That couple $100,000 holding you over, that ain't real money, that's bill money.
So go be a king to your own people. But don't come over here and act like you're a king to us. And if I catch you biting and snapping back at me, I'm going to take that shit from you, embarrass you, and make your people talk about you and turn on you again. That's what they do to us with that shit. You know you can't take it with you. You don't own this shit. That's the only fucked up thing about having something more than your own people. You can only flex on your own people.
Hey, y'all tell me
slavery.
that's not facts,
Where
man.
you been?
Hold on, let's start. If that's not facts, I don't know what is. When he broke that down, y'all, when he broke that down just now, breaking down levels of slavery, listen, yes, we can think about this in society. We can think about this also in a format of cult-like environments. Listen, when you have situations like this to where you're entering in the space and you have to give up everything, and you got one person flexing on you, you got them driving big trucks, you got them building mansions with marble floors, you got them sitting Polarises out front, right, with a pond in the back. You understand what I'm saying? He flexing on you, trying to take trips over to Africa, right? So he can be able to keep his buns over in Africa. You gotta keep his conjugal rights over there too if he's got something over there, right? And that's definitely Kabir, his sugar daddy, sugar baby. And then not only that, within our own community, within our own culture, you got to identify this as well. Like, listen, this is just our way of, this is what we do to each other, right? A lot of us take the time out to literally take a shit. Period. It just is what it is. Sometimes it is. That's just what it is. You can't go into other spaces and think that you're gonna flex and you're not welcome there, right? So when he speaks on this, man, I'm sorry, but he hit nails on the head, man. He's definitely showing that. Listen, we have our boundaries, we have our constraints, we can't enter in certain realms and thinking that we're going to be everything, right? Let me give you this for an example. When you operate as a private banker, you yourself, and you've done the necessary things. Let's say you got like a health insurance policy, y'all. You got a health insurance policy. You yourself, you got a health insurance policy. You got what else? You got other means to where you can be able to make yourself somebody who can lend to a family member. When you operate as a private banker in this country, the government don't applaud you for it. The government don't big you up. The government don't exploit that behavior. The government don't show you offsetting and discharging the liabilities of debt using a Schedule C or I'm using a 1099C or using a 1099A, right? A 1096 acquisition form. When you're using these forms to offset the liability of debt, they don't sit out here and broadcast that to the world that somebody was able to accomplish it. But the moment you do it, you start getting knocks on your doors from the IRS. You start getting knocks on your doors from other groups, sects, and entities, corporations that believe that you're doing something illegal, unlawful, when they themselves, they practice what? The monetary of exchange is borderline fraudulent. Not even borderline, okay, y'all? It is fraud. Let me just flat out tell you that, right? It is fraud. You understand what I'm saying? Our medium of exchange, the way that we do things, it's not nothing legit about it. Everything, no intrinsic value on a lot of this stuff. We just giving stuff away. Honestly, tell you the truth, things that hold tangible value. If you're selling your gold and silver, listen, you're selling it for something that it doesn't exist. You're giving this gold and silver away for IOUs, right? Paper money. It's garbage at the end of the day. You understand what I'm saying? So, yeah, but when they do it, it's totally legal. It's totally fine. But when you do it, that's your ass. You can't do what they do. You can't do what they do. Of course not. Even though it's completely legal and lawful for you to be able to do it. You can't do it. That's your rear end. Nah, you can't do what we do. And that's what he's saying. That's a lot of what he's mentioning when Mike F speaks about this. And it's 110% true. How is you as a slave going to come and try to tell me, the slave master, what the hell you finna do? It's the same thing with straightways. Same thing with these particular religious cults that want you to come and sell all of your belongings, sell all your stuff and give it to them, give them full reign control. You signing these contracts, right? These slave contracts, effectively selling out yourself and your future generations to this particular cult, and they control the narrative. Their foundations control the narrative. They can spin it all they want. They can say that you said one false thing, right, and kick you out, and you've lost all of everything that you worked so hard for. You don't even have an inheritance for your children. That is modern day slavery. While they're flexing on you, You understand what I'm saying? You've seen this happen and take place with this guy, with this church who was just recently busted, right? He was doing this to his church members. You understand what I'm saying? I forgot his name. I think it was Taylor or something, last name or whatever. He was just recently busted on RICO charges, right? Flexing on his church members, on the churchgoers. You know what I mean? So when he's speaking about this, it's absolutely true, but it's another shot. It's another shot at religion, right? And effectively, none of us wants to follow or keep religion, because religion is the source of a lot of evil that has taken place on this earth. It's the source, religion. I mean, that's where a lot of people move away from it, get away from it, right? But faith-based, faith-wise, something totally different. If your schedule opens up with like forward to you dropping more members videos. Okay, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I should definitely do that. I gotta definitely open up that because it's been really hectic. So yes, I'm gonna start allocating some time toward members only videos. But like I said, the schedule has been crazy lately. But we're gonna get back on top of that, y'all. We're gonna get back on top of that, man. Tell Dow to tell his estranged son to sell all and be his slave. Bet he won't. I bet he won't either. He won't even dare tell him to do that. The Maccabees talks about that in a way. Absolutely. I hear you. All right, we got another one, y'all. We got another one from Mike Epps, y'all. Hot topic. Let's go. Hot news of the I think we got another one, man. Hold on, let me take a look.
Black people that only black people can flex on other black people with, because that's all you can do, because you can't flex on the motherfucker master, because he gave it to you. And go out there and flex on your people. Because if you flex on me, your ass is in trouble. And what you got,
Let me see.
that's my fuck up money. I spend that entire.
All right, so I think we just listened to that. But either way, yeah. Hold on a sec. Let me see.
So go be a king to your own people. But don't come over here and act like you're a king to us. And if I catch you biting and snapping back at me, I'm going to take that shit from you, embarrass you, and make your people talk about you and turn on you again. That's what they do to us with that shit. You know you can't take it with you. You don't own the shit. And your people are loyal to you.
Yeah. And I know that he had another one out here. He was talking about how TD Jakes had machine guns and things up to listen, y'all gotta hear this one, man. Y'all gotta hear this one. Because this one right here is hilarious, man. It's hilarious, but it's also true. It's very true. It may be funny, but it's true. You get what I'm saying? And so I need to go ahead and do it like this. But he was talking about TD Jakes, y'all. He was talking about TD Jakes and how TD Jakes he went to TD Jakes' house and and TD Jakes had machine guns and things like that. And he's like, man, obviously this person don't believe in in God, right? Obviously don't believe in the Most High because what happened to your faith in the Most High? Why do you need machine guns and all this other stuff? I think that we all too often, honestly, hold a position like this. But it's like, he also made our hands for war, for battle. But yeah, he's absolutely right, because the way that TD Jakes preaches, when he teaches, he should be the main one living on the principles, right? Making himself readily available to show forth that he has real faith, right? He shouldn't have to be walking with. Now, I'll tell you this much, y'all. Let me tell you this. One of my key points, right? One of my key points when I first found Straightway, y'all, and I haven't talked about this before. So one of the key points for me when I first found Straightway was that Dow did not have security. He didn't walk around with security. He didn't do none of that, y'all. Right? He didn't do none of that. He didn't have no security. He didn't walk around with security. That it was difficult to be able to get to him and talk to him because his security guards was all around him, all this other stuff. As to which I saw that at a previous Christian church that I was at, right? But going into Straightway, I saw that he kind of moved alone. It was like he was moving by faith. You get what I'm saying? It's humble. You know what I mean? And, I used to kind of brag about that. You know what I mean? That was kind of like a bragging point until it wasn't. Until it wasn't. Until a lot of the military guys started to show up and really start to enforce security with him. Listen, that's when you really start to see the real Dow the real one, you start to see him take off. He started it started to mold. He started to change. It started to shift. Next thing you know, you got armed guards sitting in on every sermon, right? With rifles and things like that. Kind of what you see now. Before it wasn't like that. But when it first started to do that, I thought about it in a way as to where, you know what? Some of our greatest leaders, some of our greatest speakers have been assassinated at some point. So maybe security for individuals who are leading a charge, a revolution, things like that would be good. But what I see is somebody who has gotten lawfully of themselves, who have puffed themselves up in such an unprecedented level that, they have justified armed guards with AR-15s who are placed there for the saints that are in the audience, and it replaces their faith. My thing is that now we see the truth. Now we see what the reality really is with a lot of these individuals who claim to be men of Yah, right? Men of God, men of the Most High. In any moment that they're more than willing to sell out and to take a path of wealth over your salvation. They could care less about your salvific journey. They could care less about you your growing salvation. They will take wealth. They will take resources, being resourceful. They will take all these things, the things of this world, building on land, more land, property, foundation. They'll take all of these things and they will supersede that over your salvation. They can care less about your salvation if it means that they're going to have to give something up, right? That'll inconvenience them in order for you to keep your salvation. If it's going to inconvenience them, they'll prefer not to. Just ask a lot of these individuals who spoke up about the trident that Dow keeps on his hat now. Ask about that, where they were put out of the ministry. They were not given a voice, and they did not change a damn thing for those individuals. I promise you they didn't. They didn't change nothing. And that would have helped that person with their salvific walk. If you got a ministry, right, and you claim that this ministry is the thing that's going to help you reach it to the kingdom, but you're doing something like keeping tridents and stuff like that, and they call you out for it, and you put them out of your ministry for that, then how are you a ministry that's going to get them into glory and get them into Shemayim, get them into heaven? Like, you, if anything, you're going to make the matter worse. You're going to make things even worse. I'm not going to like that, Josh. Yeah. That I want people that think he is Jesus. It's that Antichrist over there. And yeah. And I gotta say, like I said, I've heard them say it on Blog Talk before, which he literally said, "You like Jesus." And he didn't stop the brother. He didn't rebuke the brother right there on Blog Talk. He received it wholeheartedly. He received that he was being compared to Yeshua, being compared to Jesus, and he received it. They always compare him to Moses. You understand what I'm saying? He receives that. There's no way you can receive it. These men lived in a totally different time, a totally different era, and they were cloaked in a different type of humility, with a different type of spiritual gift and power, because during those times there was no distractions. There is no YouTube to go and vlog about your recent escapade or whatever you got done doing. There is no YouTube. There is no social media. There's none of that. Only thing that you got is yourself, that inner voice, and the Most High, right? And a lot of times you barely had food. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of times you're too busy fasting and praying in order to hear anybody else's voice, right? A lot of times you're walking from one city to the next and you're in the middle of nowhere in the wilderness or in the desert, and it's only you and Yah. It's just you and Yah. And you got to rely on him to get you out of this, right? And get you to a place to where you can be able to receive not only food, but water. So you had to rely on him while you're on your journey, right? If you didn't pack enough or whatever it may be, you had no other choice but to rely on the Father to get you from one place to another safely, right? And a lot of times you fighting a lot of these dangerous animals, like these creatures, these rattlesnakes, these snakes, these lions, bears, whatever it may be. You fighting through all of this in order to make it to the next point. You're not going to compare yourself to a man who's fell to his face multiple times in repentance because the people thought he did something wrong. You're not going to compare yourself to a man who's able to part the Red Sea, literally part it. You're not going to compare yourself to a man who's able to rain a fire tornado from the sky. You understand what I'm saying? Come on now. You're not going to let other people compare you to him and receive it. You're not going to compare yourself. You're not going to let other people compare you or put you on the same playing field as Yeshua, who sacrificed his very life for you, right? In order for you to achieve what? Your salvation. Who is the son of the Most High Yah. There's no way you're going to put me in the same arena with these individuals, with these guys. There's no way I'm touching that. There's no way I'm touching that. And I'll be thinking about in these, when Yeshua say, and these works that I do, ye shall do, and many more, before I go on to the Father. And I'm just like, Yeshua, what works are you talking about? Because I don't see the works. I don't see what you guys used to do back then. I don't see them now. I don't see people doing that nowadays. You get what I'm saying? And I think it's for a real reason. I think we have a lot of opportunities, not only through the food, but also through these distractions, also through these. That's the reason why, when we do 40 days of Eden, man, this whole thing turns into the 40 days of Eden. We locking in spiritually. And that's the reason why I say that, because when we remove all distractions and we remove all these different things that will entice us to operate on a low vibration, we can be able to ascend to a higher level of ourselves, right? We can be able to take ourselves to the next level spiritually, tap in spiritually with the Father on a different level, because, man, we literally taking ourselves back, right? By removing a lot of distractions, right? We cut out a lot of different things that we're very aware of what we're putting in our ear gates and our eye gates. And I think that's the one thing that will only help us, honestly, tell you the truth. I think that's a lot of this stuff, especially the food that we're purchasing and buying and eating. If it ain't coming from the earth, then it's a problem. If we ain't eating life, then there's an issue there, right? It's not going to help us channel the proper spiritual power. You know what I'm saying? It's just going to continue to hold us back. Give unto me. Yeah. Do you think Ashley will ever say what happened that was shocking when she left Mother Carol and Dow was extremely close to her? I could have never thought she and her husband would leave. No, I don't believe that they would come out and speak about it. But you never know. It's a possibility that they might, but I believe that they may have signed an NDA that will keep them from being able to disclose any confidential information. They haven't came out and spoke about it. They successfully grifted the people. Okay, let's keep it real, y'all. They successfully have grifted the people. They've taken the money that they needed to get. I believe they got over $10,000, okay, from the people, and they effectively just walked away. They just rolled off into the sunset. Now, I'm not too sure. They might be fellowshipping with a few people, but my thing is that they do owe people some sort of explanation. I don't believe that they believe that, but I think that they do. But my opinion doesn't matter, right? It holds the weight of two pieces of paper for them, okay? But my thing is that just as I called it before, right? And everybody's saying, oh, you didn't give him an opportunity to repent. Oh, you didn't give him this. You're not being nah, man. I'm going to call it like I see it. I saw that they were out here grifting. You had enough time to set up a GoFundMe, but you didn't have enough time to come out here and repent for being a part of that wicked ministry, or for deceiving people, or being a part of this machine that was built and based on deception. You don't have time to issue a public apology from the same people that that you want support from, that left that organization. You want support from these individuals, but you don't even have time to come out here and offer up peace, apology, something like that. You don't have time to do that for them. It's like, okay, so you just actively just trying to grift the people. You just want their money, and that's all you really want. You want their money. But like how Mike Epps said, some of us, we just so eager to be deceived. We're so eager to be deceived. We're so eager to have somebody pull the wool over our eyes. We're so eager for it that, people just gave to them and didn't require anything from them. You know what I mean? Didn't require not nothing, no performance from these individuals who've been with him for, I think, 15 years plus, right? 15 years plus. Didn't require nothing, right? And my thing is that I'll continue to stand on that.
And I'ma stand on that. Okay. And they can get in my DM. You can get in my DM all you want every day.
They grifted the people. They got the money that they needed to get. They grifted the people how they needed to grift, and they got what they needed. I mean, it is what it is, y'all. They might as well call him Bubba Dow. Bubba Dow. It's funny. Rode off into the sunset. I mean, who wouldn't from Straightway? Yeah, and that's my king. That is my sentiments exactly. That's how I feel about it. I saw them coming freshly out of Straightway, understanding the deception that Dow puts onto the people. And then I saw that they didn't have the time to have the same level of compassion, care, love, whatever. Let me come out here and come correct. And I got a lot of flack for that shit. I got a lot of flack from it. I got people who probably still mad at me for giving the Bells a hard time after they left. But my thing is that that's how I saw it. That's how I saw it. I saw that they were coming out of there and they had an opportunity to grift, to get a little something extra, to do a last little lick. You know what I'm saying? Hit their last little lick, and then they just did what they needed to do. But my thing is that am I mad at them? Do I hold a grudge against them? They probably won't like what I'm saying now. But my thing is that I don't have a grudge. I'm not mad. I just believe they could have done it better, right? I believe they could have done it better. I believe that it could have been a better situation where they came and correct, and they came out and they actually discussed a couple things, maybe some things left. They could have left the private things private. They could have just discussed the current things, or just came out and just said, you know what? We apologize for the things that we partook in. You know, Ashley was the face of the Sister to Sisters broadcast for quite some time. She was the face of Straightway for the women, right? She was the face, right? A lot of times, you know, based on testimonies, based on reports, she would be forming cliques. She'd be clicking up. She would be shunning people. She'd be doing certain things that just was not unbecoming of believers. And if I'm just being honest, I'm just being honest about that, because there is nothing that has brought peace about that situation. There's a lot of women who may have suffered at the hands of Ashley and what she was doing during that time. And they have lost their faith. They have turned away from Yah because they were treated on a certain level. They were treated in a certain light and negatively, right? And so those people deserve to be advocated for, just as well as the Bells deserve to be advocated for. But it's all with respect, right? And honor. If you don't show any respect and honor to people, to say, you know what, my apologies, I was doing this A, B, and C, and I was deceived, or whatever the hell you need to say. If you're not saying stuff like that, if you're not offering people up clarity and peace, then you effectively don't care about their soul salvation. You don't care about these people. You only care about what you can gain, and that's about it. Me personally, NDAs, whatever it may be, yada, 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 I could care less about that, but I'm going to speak the truth, because you know what? Only person that's going to shut you up or try to stop you from speaking truth is the enemy. That's the only one. If you speak in truth and you speak in facts, they're the only ones who's going to try to stop you from doing so, right? It just is what it is. Do you regret your Straightway experience, or do you see it as something that made you stronger? I see it as something that made me stronger. I see it as something that built me up spiritually, that put me in a certain position to be able to help others, right? You know, I don't regret it, because, you know, it definitely helped develop me, and it's helped shape me. I've learned things from Straightway that, of course, you know, help me grow. You know what I'm saying? Despite what Dow's doing that's wicked, there's still people who are exceptional individuals, a part of that ministry, right? Who you can learn from, who you can grow from, right? I would foundational work, how to lay foundation and stuff like that for home. I've never done foundational work before. I've actually went to Straightway and I help with foundation, right? And now I understand how to do foundation. Would I be comfortable with doing it by myself? No, I would want to go under somebody who's been doing it for years first, and then I'll be comfortable with doing it alone. But I understand the process. So, so if push comes to shove, I can be able to get it done. I can get the job done, right? And perfect practice makes perfect. So I'll get it until I got it perfect. But there's certain things that you learn, not only spiritually, but more morally, things like that, that will help you strengthen yourself, and in life, period, right? So I don't regret it. Certain things about it that I wish could have been done differently, but I don't regret it at all. I don't regret it at all. I accept it for what it is, because it's the journey and the path that the Most High sent me on. And this is what I had to do, so I can come out with a testimony or something at the end of the day, right? But yeah, no regrets. I don't live by regrets. I only live by the success and not the failures. The failures are learning and teaching tools, whereas to where the success is opportunities to give the Most High praise and honor, right? And glory. You know what I'm saying? Because He loves all of that. Dow used to be pro-Trump for years. Would Dow possibly be on the Diddy list or Epstein list? Excuse me, y'all. I doubt it. I don't think he's a part of those circles. But I do believe, right? I'm going to be honest. I do have my suspicions on him being a part of the CIA. I do have my suspicions there. I also have my suspicions that somebody within his group, within his camp, whatever, are also undercover FBI, CIA, something like that right now currently, and have already infiltrated his particular ministry, and they're already keeping close eyes on him currently right now. You understand what I'm saying? It's reason to speculate that, but it's nothing confirmed. Okay, it's just something that I believe. He could be ex-CIA, because my thing is that he's got to be a plant. I mean, come on now. What would be best for a demonic system, right? A demonic system would take somebody, plant them in organizations that seem like they're going to prosper and be prosperous, just to lead those individuals astray. Okay. Let's just keep it a buck. Let's mix the lies with truth. Let's present the truth, but we're going to give it nuances of lie, right? So, and then give it a nice balance of lies and truth. That way we can be able to keep it equal, right? So that's just kind of what it is, y'all. That's just kind of what it is, man. Man, listen, I got another thing. Since these videos are coming through good. I got another thing. Let me I want to check this out, because I thought it pretty interesting. The name Yeshua versus the name Jesus, man. Y'all, I want to know what y'all thoughts is on this, okay? I want to know your thoughts on this. So let's take a listen as to what is being said here. Another hot news of I want to see what you guys think about this, man. Because me personally, I got my own thoughts. Let's listen in. Though.
Yeshua, they told you it was the same name, the same man, but it is not. Yeshua was his true name, the name his mother called him, the name his friends spoke with love, the name rooted in Aramaic and Hebrew, carrying the vibration of freedom, healing, and truth. They told you his name meant Yahweh saves, but that was the twist, because Yeshua did not come to serve Yahweh. He came to free you from Yahweh, from the jealous sky god, the false ruler who demanded worship and obedience. Yeshua came to cut that chain.
Now, Yeshua coming to cut the chain of the jealous sky god that demanded certain things. That's where I'm like, wait a minute. Because Yeshua, we know that Yeshua came and preached a different type of message. Instead of eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, he preached a different message of forgiveness, right? forgiveness, which kind of brings you out of the state of perpetual evil being done to one another, right? It's a cycle of evil, eye for an eye. There's no way to be able to clear your conscience purely, right, or completely when you're doing an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. There's a lot of bitterness, a lot of anger, a lot of resentment toward that. And that was a lot of what the Old Testament was all about. You understand what I'm saying? But then Yeshua comes and he preaches a doctrine of what? Of forgiveness, of forgiving your enemies, of forgiving your brother, of forgiveness. You understand what I'm saying? That's 70 times 7 times 7, of course, within reason, right? Meaning that you need to forgive the individual for yourself. So that way you're not bitter. So that way you're not being wicked. That way you're not taking vengeance upon yourself. That way, you know what I mean? And you can be able to free your conscious mind, right? You can be able to free yourself from all of these low vibrational emotions that keep you confined on this earth, right? And I know I'm going into a pretty long rant or tangent, but it had my gears spinning, right? It had the gears spinning when he said that. When they said that, I'm like, interesting. So they're trying to claim that Yeshua came to override Yahweh, right? In his beliefs of eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth, which is correct, right? But of course not to override the law in its entirety, but to set the record straight, so to speak, right? To be able to clear it out or to fix what was wrong with the system, right? When we wore fringes, when we done all these things that are of the flesh, sacrificing bullocks, you know what I mean? Yeshua came to set that record straight, to be the ultimate sacrificial lamb, right? So we can be able to come on to the Father through repentance, through grace, through all these other things. And so when I framed it in that light, I'm like, they're onto something there, because you know what? But I can't, I can't paint Yahweh in a negative light, right? Because I don't believe that it's negative. I believe that he had his ways and then he sought to give us a better path. Okay, right? He sought to give us a better path. That's why he sent his only begotten son, so we can be redeemed for our sins, right? We can go on to redemption. We don't have to worry about all of this fleshly stuff and being full of bitterness and anger and resentment. You know what I mean? But we can find ways to bring peace in our own spirit and soul, right? So let's continue, y'all. Let's continue.
To show you the source beyond it. And Yeshua carried more than a name. He carried the Christ flame, the living Christos, the balance of Sophia's wisdom and Source's fire. That flame is not worshipped outside of you. It is awakened within you. That is the mystery Empire feared most. But Empire changed everything through Greek.
Now, that's the one thing that I would disagree about with this video, is that they painted Yahweh in a negative light. Okay, so let's continue though.
Through Latin, through Rome. And what emerged was Jesus, a new name, a new image, a new figure to build a new religion. Yeshua walked among the poor, the broken, the outcasts. He told them the kingdom was within, that no priest or ruler stood between them and Source. He showed them the Christ flame in themselves. That was liberation. But Jesus, the version Empire gave you, became something else, a figure to worship instead of a teacher to follow, a name tied to obedience, a symbol of control. Through Jesus, they built hierarchy. Through Yeshua, there was freedom. And through this shift, the feminine was erased, Sophia silenced, the mother hidden, the living Christ flame buried under dogma. But here's the truth. Yeshua never came to start a religion. He came to awaken souls, to show you the flame you already carry, to remind you that you are not fallen, not beggars, not slaves, but eternal sparks of Source. Jesus is the name Empire gave you. Yeshua is the name they tried to erase. One keeps you kneeling, the other sets you free. So the question is, will you keep calling on the version they built? Or will you remember Yeshua the liberator, the carrier of the Christ flame, the one who came to free you, not through Yahweh, but from him? Only truth, only Source, only Sophia.
Now, I don't know about this only Sophia thing. Can somebody enlighten me on that? Because I'm not too sure is what they mean by that. But also, I believe that they're shifting the levels of worship from Yahweh to Yeshua, right? And which my thing is that I totally and completely disagree with that. I think that is absolutely false and wrong. I think that is false and wrong. And they are shifting the levels of like I said, of worship from Yahweh to Yeshua, and they're trying to tell you that you need to discard not only the name of Jesus, but also discard the name of Jesus and to discard Yahweh. And then also just to keep Yeshua. I think that that's a false teaching all on its own. There's certain things, like I said, like Satan will come through and he will mix some lies and truth all day long. And this is exactly what this video is. It's a mixing of lies and truth, right? All together. Yes, it's true that Yeshua or Jesus, right? More known as Jesus, he did come and he did do what he did to be able to help us understand better, right? Or to set us up in ways that we can get closer to Yahweh. But it was all based on his Father, not based on himself, right? And so, yes, the name of Yeshua is definitely the name. But when you start to encourage people to get rid or to discard the Father, then you've fallen into a very, very dangerous place. You know what I mean? What do you guys think about this video, man? Y'all tell me what your thoughts is on this thing, because like I said, it has some spaces to where it's telling truth. Yes, Rome and Greek, Jesus did come from, and was created by a lot of these things, right? When it comes to Roman Emperor Constantine, he gave you the image, the image of the Caucasian or European Jesus, and encouraged that you worship Jesus and things like that. Even changed a few words in the Bible, right? Switched them from Elohim to Lord and stuff like that, right? To make a likeness unto himself. But with this video itself, is teaching people to discard, not only discard Yahweh, but also discard Jesus, the name Jesus, right? And just to keep only Yeshua as a source of worship. Okay. And that's what I heard when I was listening to this thing. And I was it sparked my interest, because I'm like, well, they're talking about it. And it is talking about Yeshua. Of course, Yeshua, we know that was his real name, because, there's no such thing as J's back then. But it's deceptive in a ways, because it's trying to paint Yahweh as a jealous sky god, and that you should not honor him or love Yahweh, right? And things like that, or give him honor and praise. Yeah, something's wrong here. Red flag. Yeah. I see some of the red flags there. Like I said, they're going to mix the lies. They're going to mix the truth with the lies, right? And I want to kind of enter into more of like a philosophical type of conversation. I'll drop the link in the chat. How about that? We'll drop the link in the chat. If anybody wants to come up and talk about this and add to the conversation, you're more than welcome to come on up. You're more than welcome to come on up. I agree with that. You agree with the video or agree with what I'm pointing out in regards to this video? Because like I said, yeah, they're definitely mixing it in there, and you shouldn't just worship Yeshua. He's been allowed a long rope. Yeah, he's been allowed a long rope. Yeah. So you should be worshiping Yahweh still. You should be keeping worship with Yahweh. And also Yeshua or Jesus, and better known as Jesus. That is definitely something that you want to keep, because he also had a father who sent him right for you under the guise of religion. Yeah. Religion. Yeah. Under the guise of religion. Yeah. And I do, and that's some of the truth that comes from it, right? Because we know that it has come from like Greek and Roman individuals, religions, groups and cult sects that gave you the name Jesus, that gave you some things to be able to keep. And we know that for sure. We know that for facts. But we also know that Yahweh has never been something that you wanted to divorce yourself from, that you didn't want to worship or give honor or praise to or glory to, that you always wanted to keep Yahweh in very high esteems, right? For sure. We got some scriptures getting dropped in the chat. Pagan day. Hebrews 10:26, Exodus 3:6, 7:16, KJV, God of Hebrew, Matthew 1:23, Isaiah, Messiah, JC equals Romans, Satan equals Santa. Yeah, I agree with the Satan equals Santa. Okay, because I'm trying to decode. Thanks God, it's over. Okay. The way you typed it, Jeremiah 10:1-5, KJV, pagan day, Hebrews 10:26. Okay, so you kind of talking about holidays or so-called holidays, you know. Yeah, I agree with those scriptures. That's facts. The giving of a name don't denounce ownership. Okay. The giving of a name is ownership. Yeah. And they kind of, and kind of, like I said, they kind of mixed it in there pretty smooth, right? They kind of mixed it in there pretty smooth. But, it is what it is. All the God's names need to be studied. Yeah. I mean, for understanding, to understand what people are talking about. That way you can pose a better argument as to what your position is, what your core beliefs are. If you don't know what other people are talking about or what they're studying, then you can't really pose a solid argument. You'll be left trying to explain something that just doesn't fit to the person that you're talking to because you don't understand who they are. You don't know what they study. You don't understand where they come from. So it's better to study it a little bit and understand it and match it up using Yeshua, using Jesus as a measuring tool or a measuring stick to match up what's being taught to see if it's true or not. Right. But yeah. So that was one of the ones that I wanted to hit on real quick, man. I'm trying to tell you now. But yeah, so when we're talking about this, you gotta know, y'all, that a lot of this stuff is just so that we can have a keen eye to what people are talking about when we're having philosophical conversations about a lot of these things. Just something to kind of throw around our opinions as to what something is about, what it says, what it means. I think it gives us an opportunity just to kind of I guess compare our notes, compare, contrast what our beliefs is, challenge our beliefs where we're at, standing in our beliefs, and being able to offer up a better perspective, right, to one another, so we can be able to grow. Ultimately, did you watch what was dropped yesterday? Which one? Because we had a lot of videos dropped. Which video you talking about, brother Vic? Because we had were you talking about videos that's in Discord or which ones you talking about? Let you answer that real quick. Now that's one of the biggest things. Yeah. So which video are you talking about? But when we come with these the shared video in Discord, I'm thinking maybe in Discord. Yeah, we had quite a few videos that were shared in Discord yesterday. So he didn't have a drunk blog, but I missed the Sabbath service. Was that what you're referring to, Bro Vic? The Sabbath service. Yeah, I know that we definitely. I know that brother Odell said he checked out his Sabbath service. Yuru put it out. Okay, put it out there for us. Okay, for sure. Yuru. Yiru. Yiru put it out there for us. Okay. I might have missed that one. Cause I don't know if it's in Discord, y'all. Or is it in Discord or what's up? Cause first of all, I don't know who Yiru is. I don't know who that is. Or was it just on YouTube? Him and Chris stream on Sabbath. No, I'm not too sure about that. I missed that stream. So you're gonna have to share it to me. I didn't see anything about that. Okay, on YouTube. Yeah, I missed that stream. Him and Chris Briggs or brother Chris Briggs or Elder Chris. I'm about to look it up right now, actually. I'm about to look this joint up. What you talking about? Let me see. Oh, okay. I bet it is Chris Briggs, right? Brother Chris Briggs. Okay, that's what's up. Okay. Yeah, no, I missed that one, man. I'm trying to tell you, I missed that one. I missed that one. Can we talk, not talk? I'm gonna have to check it out. You said it was serious. It was a good one. I'm gonna have to definitely go check it out and share it up. I'm gonna check it out and share it up. But I've been doing a little something. But yeah. Okay, I'm looking at it now. But yeah, let me see something real quick. Leaning with a whole. So I'm gonna check it out, man. But we're gonna go ahead and land this plane, y'all. We're going ahead and land this plane, man. I appreciate you guys joining me here for the Worship Podcast. I know that this was gonna be one of those ones, man. I just kind of want to go into a philosophical conversation, bring up a few topics, man. We can have a conversation about. The next one, man. We're gonna bring out some heavy hitting scriptures, and I know for a fact that it's going to be something you do not want to miss. We're gonna go ahead and shoot from the office on the next one, y'all. We're gonna do that from the office. Or from the studio. But on the way out, y'all, appreciate you for joining me from our righteous Alpha man. Drop a ram in the chat for me, please. And I'm elegant who's exceptional. Drop a sheep in the chat for me, please. We're gonna go ahead and close this thing out, man. Peace and shalom to you all, man. Thank you for flocking with your Yaga, flocking with your boy. We see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like this video, y'all. Comment and subscribe and share with whoever needs to see this. We'll see you in the next one. All right. Peace and shalom.